Well, the Senate will soon consider the information of Dr. Robert Califf as FDA commissioner. Dairy farmers are watching for any indications on what he might do about dairy labeling. Alan Bjerga with the National Milk Producers Federation joins us now with the latest insight. Alan, as always, thanks for your time here this afternoon. So where do we stand in the dairy labeling debate right now? What could 22 bring to us here?
So on Wednesday, the Senate committee that saw the confirmation hearing of Dr. Robert Califf as next head of the FDA will be voting on his nomination. It can then go to the Senate floor shortly thereafter, after which he will be installed as the FDA commissioner. Now, in his confirmation hearing, you saw him talking about the importance of the dairy labeling issue. It was actually the only food issue that came up in his confirmation hearing. Everything else was dealing with COVID or the drug industry or other areas. And he says it's going to be a priority. Now, of course, you always need to follow up on this. The Biden administration has said that there will be guidance offered on this issue by June. We are hopeful that the FDA will decide to follow its own rules and enforce labeling integrity. Frankly, we're always optimistic. And after years of optimism, we're hoping this will be the year. We'll see. At this point, farmers have to continue to have their voice heard, that this continues to be an important issue in public discourse. And the National Milk Producers Federation will make sure we're doing everything we can to make sure that happens.
Now, Alan, defenders of transparent labeling had some victories in 21, but what will it take for farmers' interest to be successful in the end?
Well, one of the big victories that we had last fall, we actually saw a global standard-setting body stand up in favor of labeling integrity and dairy terms being for true dairy products. That's great to have that international support, but again, we have to have this happen here in the United States. The FDA's guidance is going to be very, very important. You know, we've also written letters to the ombudsman of the FDA, which basically looks at the agency's own practices, wondering what's going on, folks. It's been 4 decades. Keep rattling cages, keep making some noise. Hopefully this is weird that something takes place.
Now, Alan, it's not just plant-based labeling that we're talking about and farmers are concerned about. Lab-based products are also now coming online. What could we expect in that market for the next year?
So this is a decision year for plant-based. Lab-based, this is a definition year. You see a lot of early indications from these products that are not animal agricultural products, but still want to use these terms, a la plant-based. So what we have to make sure is that the labeling practices for these are set strongly out of the gate, that people understand that this is a lab-based product that may be synthesizing a dairy protein of some type, but it's not the same thing that you get when you have a natural product, something that's been grown, literally produced for millennia, that we know a lot more than right now, what is a very new technology that's only beginning to gain a toehold in the marketplace.
And Alan, before we let you go, we also want to get your opinion on the story that we just aired about the gruyere cheese ruling. It's a significant decision, so what does it mean for U.S. dairy?
What it means for U.S. dairy is that you continue to be able to produce a type of cheese that U.S. dairy farmers do a very good job of producing. You know, one of the issues with labeling with the European Union is that you have these standards of identities that are set under U.S. standards, global standards. You know what a cheese is and what it isn't. The EU wants to slap a place of origin on it, saying that no, this type of cheese only comes from this area that happens to be where we produce it. It's protectionism, and a U.S. court just saw through that argument from the EU that there should be these geographical indications. They understand that in this case, this is a common term. You know, that's another part of labeling integrity as well. You have to understand what something is and what something isn't. And under standards of identity, geographical indications are not something that can take what is an accepted generic term and suddenly make it a proper noun.
So, Alan, is this ruling going to be setting a precedent? Because it's been something we've talked about for a long time, including feta and also outside of dairy, champagne.
A lot of these issues will continue to be working through the court system. When you get a favorable ruling, of course, that strengthens your hand as other of these types of issues come forth. You need to have some sort of global, sensitivity understanding on this. But frankly, as long as the European Union has some sort of a commercial interest and there is not this global consensus telling this to stop, you're going to see it keep coming up. But you know what? The U.S. has won this one, and that only paves the way for more victories to come.
All right, Alan, as always, thank you very much for your insight this afternoon. Alan Bjerga with the National Milk Producers Federation joining us today out of Washington, D.C. You can go online to nmpf.org for more information.